Hi friends, welcome back to Solid Gold Scripture Journals. Today we're going to work on our Come Follow Me lesson for this week, April 22nd to 28, filled with love towards God and all men. So before you go ahead and study your Come Follow Me lesson, a friendly reminder to make sure you say a prayer. And I have this note here for a friendly reminder to myself that I need to remember to say a prayer before I start. And that is done. So we're going to do Mosiah 1-3 today. In the introduction, it talks about King Benjamin. So when you hear the word king, you might think of crowns and servants and thrones. But King Benjamin was a different kind of king. King Benjamin labored with his own hands. Instead of having others serve him, he served his people with all his might, mind, and strength, which the Lord had granted unto him. This king didn't want his people to worship him. He wanted his people to worship the Lord. And I think that's really beautiful. And I really have a lot of, I get a lot of inspiration from King Benjamin. His sermon was fantastic. I think he's a great example, and I love him. So this week, to start off, we're going to go into the ideas for learning at home and church. The first idea talks about how we should search the scriptures diligently, and here we are. We are searching them here today. But I'm going to pass by this one, come back to it later in the week. And I'm going to start with Mosiah 2:10-26. When I serve others, I am also serving God. Why am I zipping down to this one? Because of this little symbol here. I teach seminary. This little symbol is sort of a heads up to youth leaders that this is the kind of thing that we're going to be studying this week that really is applicable to our youth. So maybe it's a little bit longer than this little bit here, but I'm selfishly going to use this for my video and also review it for myself. So I just want to go back to last week and show you what I did. I found this cute sticker. I'm kind of a big dull. Love it. And then I've got a Gutenberg Museum sticker, which was on a little bag of something I bought at the Gutenberg Museum. And you know, I'm just a girl who loves books. So what can I say? Last week, I really enjoyed the study, and I just kept studying and studying and studying. So I was going to try to really daily work on my prayers. I remembered on Wednesday, my prayers weren't so thoughtful, but I'm still working on that for this week. And I really enjoyed how the Lord helps me influence my marriage and my family. I made a little pyramid here. That was Elder Uchtdorf talking about how little things we do is like adding a little pebble to our family's charity until we have a nice big pyramid. Or I loved that. Forgiveness. And what else did they talk about? How God can work through us. And what does come unto Christ mean? It was quite the week. I was quite into it. But for this week, we're going to move on into Mosiah. So first thing I'll do is talk about Mosiah 2:10-26. And so that's what I'm going to read. Just that little bit. And I always enjoy when it's just a little bit to read. When I serve others, I am also serving God. So here's a question number 1. What do you think King Benjamin would say if you asked him why he served with all his might, mind, and strength? And that is found in Mosiah 2:11. So ponder this as you go on to read. And then what did King Benjamin teach that inspires you to serve others in a more meaningful way? So I have to do a couple of things there. So I need a couple of boxes. What does it mean to you to know that when you serve other people, you are serving God? And the last part, seek inspiration about how you can serve someone this week. So that's kind of why I pray at the beginning of my study, and maybe I can find that inspiration. Now, this is one way to study, just kind of read and ask these questions. But then the lesson says another way that we can study is this. So when we know we should serve others, we sometimes face challenges. I think the challenges are we don't have time. We feel uncomfortable. We just don't feel like it. We just don't have the energy. We just don't have the desire. So he says we can make a list of truths that King Benjamin taught that can help us overcome the challenges that might keep us from serving. So I probably will do that too, since I'm going to be on a real question answer phase here today. And then what experiences have shown me that what King Benjamin taught is true? President Joy D. Jones shares an experience, and we can go through and read her article in the Ensign. And that's what I did last week. I actually went through and did some of these reading of the articles, and it was good. So we can go through there and do that. We can see Matthew 25:40 and some other different stories here. So I don't always do that, but when I do it, it is like it's there for a reason, and it's really good. Okay, let me get set up, and then we will carry on from there. First question is, what do I think King Benjamin would say if I asked him why he served with all his might, mind, and strength? So first of all, what does this mean? Might, mind, and strength. I think his might would be like his physical ability. Some of us don't have the same physical abilities as others. Like, it would be really hard for me to go into a backyard all day and weed and do that for 12 hours. That'd be really hard. And it is hard for me to get up in the mornings and teach seminary, but that's kind of where my physical ability takes me. So I'm good to go with that. I'd rather do that. It'd be better for me to kind of serve there than to serve in other areas. And then with my mind, I just think your thoughts and your inspiration, you're looking for inspiration to help others, sort of in your calling. Like, you're just constantly thinking about them and looking for ways to serve them in your callings and in your families. So I think strength is all of it. It's our endurance, our physical, mental, and spiritual. So why did King Benjamin serve this way? Let's read through Mosiah 2, 10 to 26. And of course, I'm going to read it and find things that pertain to me, that stick out to me, and you'll read it and find other things. There's no right or wrong answer here. We're just going to go through and find what we find. So I will do that, and I'll just kind of underline in gray because I've already done so much pink in here. Got to change colors. So, Mosiah 2, 10 to 26. Here are some things that I found. He said he's just a man like them. He's their king, but he's just a man like them, and he is subject to all manner of infirmities and body and mind, but he has been preserved by God so that he can serve with all of his might, mind, and strength. I love that. I kind of live that. I think I can do what I can do because I'm serving. And if we don't serve and we just sit and watch TV, then maybe we won't have that energy and that desire to serve anymore. He says he has spent all of his days in the service of his people, but he knows that he has been in the service of his God, and that it is wisdom. This is something he's learned over his life, that when ye are in the service of your fellow beings, ye are in the service of your God. And he's the king, but he serves his people. He says that quite a bit here. So it's kind of a gratitude thing. He gives thanks and praise to God, and we should do the same thing as we serve one another, and we can rejoice because of the peace that we have as we serve one another. And he says he keeps the commandments, and like we're commanded to serve and to love God and to love our neighbor. And so keeping that commandment helps us to prosper in the land. And God has given us our life, and we are indebted to him. So one thing we can do is bless others through service. So here we have, what would King Benjamin say as to why he served with his might, mind, and strength? I'm going to record the things I just spoke about here. Next question. So we will check that off. I did the reading. I did the first question. I pondered. I wrote some things down. What does he teach that it inspires me to serve in a more meaningful way? I will remember I am serving God as I serve my family and as I serve in my calling and as I serve others. What's the next question? Oops, that should be there. Okay. What does it mean to you to know that when you serve other people, you are also serving God? I think that when I serve God by serving others, that's a way I am able to show gratitude for all my blessings. He gave me everything, and that's what I can do in return. So I need to seek inspiration about how I can serve someone this week. So I'm going to think about that, pray about it, look for something to do this week, and then I'll put a little sticky note here. And when I've thought of someone I can serve, I'll write it down and I'll record the situation. So I will check that one off. Now it says, as I reread Mosiah 2:10-26, it does not hurt to reread or reskim as I am going to do now. I'm not rereading. Let's just get real. But I'm going to list the truths King Benjamin taught that can help overcome the challenges that might keep you from serving. I think I'm just going to make a quick list. What might keep me from serving? So one thing is the time. One thing is the energy. Another thing is it's kind of awkward, like, oh, can I help you bring your groceries in from your car? And someone might say, get out of here, you creep. So things like that. Those are my big three, is the time, the energy, and all the various ways that I feel awkward. So I'll look through here and see what answers I get. Here's what I found. So the time issue, he says in verse 16, so this is Mosiah chapter 2, verse 16. Behold, I say unto you, because I had said unto you that I had spent my days in your service, I do not desire to boast, for I have only been in the service of God. So he spent his time serving. what else are we going to do? What is more meaningful than serving? There are so many different ways we can serve. Maybe that's something we should do. Also, sometimes you don't have the energy. Like, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to sleep in. I don't want to do that thing. But he says over here in verse 11, so that's Mosiah chapter 2, verse 11, I am like as yourselves, subject to all manner of infirmities in body and mind. Yet I have been kept and preserved by his matchless power to serve you with all the might, mind, and strength which the Lord has granted unto me. So we will be given as much energy as we can, as we get at that time. The Lord will give us energy and preserve us so that we can do those things. And then for the awkwardness, well, he says over and over, I am like yourselves. I'm just subject to all the infirmities that you have. Feeling awkward, I feel awkward too. So everyone feels awkward. So just go for it anyway. I still feel awkward doing things, but I thought I'd grow out of it. I didn't. So we just go for it anyway. And a few other things he talks about. He talks a lot about how we need to be grateful. In verse 20, render all the thanks and praise with your whole soul and power to God who has created you. And then in verse 20, he also talks about how we can rejoice. Remember, service feels good. It makes us feel good when we can serve. And then also blessings come over here in verse 24, that he will bless us. We will prosper in the land as we serve. Ooh, lots and lots of things about service here. So I can check that one off. And then I need to think of an experience that has shown what King Benjamin taught is true. And I'm just going to record about the thing I've really been thinking about and talking about this whole time is teaching seminary. It's hard to get up. And sometimes I get all psyched out and I can't sleep because I have to teach tomorrow. And then I just get behind in my sleep. But I'm always able to work it out and to overcome because I'm teaching seminary. It's not for myself. It is because God can't actually get up in the morning and go and teach, right? Like we have to do it for him. And this is all part of the faith that we have. I'm going to talk about something that I do. I think a lot of times we can look in our lives how someone has served us, but for today, I need to think about and talk about how I can serve. And this is just what I need today. So I thought it was interesting. All of these items remind me of seminary. I serve the students, and thereby I'm serving God. And it takes a lot of time. Just to be there in the morning to do the planning. But what was I going to do anyway? It takes a lot of energy to get up in the morning. It feels awkward. It's awkward to try to, connect with the youth. And I say things and they laugh because I've said something that, I'm just really out of touch because I'm just older than them. But we get a kick out of it. We can laugh at the awkwardness. And I am so grateful to be able to teach and to be able to learn and teach what I've learned and to be able to serve. It feels so good. Like it gives you such a good feeling when you serve others. And I do know that blessings have come in my life because I have served in this way. So that was a lot of really good thinking today. And as I'm kind of thinking about this here, I'm also thinking how I can impart this to my students. And they are so great. When we talk about service, I'm thinking of one student who said his dad told him one evening, this new family just moved into our ward, and wouldn't it be great if we could just help them unload their U-Haul and just get them settled in tonight? And so him and his dad and probably some others just went over and they unloaded the truck, and it was fast. And he's like, it went fast, and we had the energy to do it, and it felt so good. So I think it's great. These students, they know this, and it'll just be nice to share things that they have done to serve others and to also serve God. So I hope that as you study these scriptures this week, that you'll be able to find what you need as you study, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.